One of my most craziest stories, living and working on luxury yachts, was shooting a rifle off of the back of a ship while it was moving.
How would you feel if you could experience the joy and excitement of living and cruising on the wide blue ocean with your friends, your families, and all those people that you love hanging out with? My name is Dr. Antonika, and I'm a yachty turned Chinese medicine doctor turned yacht professional. And I help educate buyers and sellers about one of the most personal transactions of their life, buying a yacht. So join me in this episode of My Life at Sea and one of the most craziest stories that I have to tell, untold anywhere on social media.
There are a lot of wild things that could possibly happen on a private yacht because, it's a private yacht. You can pretty much do whatever you want to do. But a lot of the stories that do happen, that take place, are never heard of or never spoke about because they are kept on deck. We don't tell these stories to everybody. And in fact, these days with the social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you really have to be careful as a crew member on what you are going to share with people that you call your friends. Because sometimes if you leak too much information, it could cost you your job. But today, I'm going to tell you about the most exciting experience that I've had on a private yacht. So, I took a position on a 130-foot Westport some time ago, back when I was in my late 20s. And I had actually been on several ships before this, and I was just about to come out of the industry because I was fed up with so much of the drama and some of the bad experiences that I had on previous ships. But I thought, I'll take this contract, I'll interview, take the contract, and hope for the best. Well, I'm glad I did because I worked with one of the best captains in the industry and had literally the best contract my entire career. And it ended up being one of the last contracts on luxury ships, but it introduced me to even bigger vessels like world-class cruise ships. So one of the most memorable experiences that I remember having is the captain brought on a clay shooter. And I thought, oh my gosh, what is he going to do with this? Or are you just going to what are you going to do with the clay shooter on board? Are you going to take it into the Bahamas and clay shoot in the Bahamas? But he had a much better idea. The idea was to clay shoot on the way to the Bahamas. Now, is this legal? Well, there is nothing regulating this as long as the ship is moving. If the vessel is moving and it is not sitting still, then you can have a clay shooter and you can shoot clay with a rifle on the back of a vessel. The only thing is that when you get to your arriving destination in customs, you have to declare your ammunition, and whatever ammunition you have is whatever ammunition you're gonna be with. But the day that we did this, we were literally in between the middle of the ocean from Fort Lauderdale and the Bahamas, and we were probably going 10 nautical miles, maybe 7 nautical miles. We were just cruising along. And we were dressed up in our pirate hats, our pirate attire, and we completely went all out in this whole pirate idea that we're going to sea and we're going to the Bahamas and we're going to find some rum. And we just made a lot of fun of it. And I did not shoot, but I was a spectator, and I thought it was just the most incredible thing. It was interesting because when you're on the vessel and the clay is going out, it's hard to see the clay up in the air to shoot at. So you have to have a really sharp eye. You have to be able to see well in when you're shooting and know where your aim is. So that's one reason why. Not only that, the recoil on a rifle can be very frightening and can be really strong if you don't know how to hold a gun. And so for that reason, I choose not to. But it was a small little moment in time that probably lasted for about 45 minutes. And while some people were using the clay shooter and, shooting clay, where there was somebody obviously at the helm, maneuvering the vessel and navigating the vessel so that way we can get to our destination safely. So does this happen all the time? No. Do you hear stories like this about things happening similar to this on other ships? Maybe, if you're lucky. But as a crew member, these are the little secrets that we keep to ourselves, and we talk within our crew, and we don't talk about it to anybody else. Because it's been several years since I've been in the industry, and that ship is no longer in commission. It's kind of like, a story that I can indulge in a little bit with friends. And so if you're looking to perhaps get into the yachting industry and you want to become a crew member, maybe you just want to travel the world like I did, then the first thing that you want to do is travel to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and get your STCW. Your STCW is the most recommended certification that gets you safety, certified and regulated to work on a private yacht. Your STCW can cost up to $995, and it takes about a week to complete the course. And every 5 years, you have to redo your certification to stay up with the standards in the maritime industry. It's really raining bad outside. When I first started my career in the yachting industry, the very first thing I did was go to maritime professional training in Fort Lauderdale. This is where I got my STCW. This is where I did my training to get my tender's license, and also how to, step up into the ranks and become a chief stewardess and know more about my role. It is probably one of the most well-known schools in Fort Lauderdale that really help you get the qualifications and the certifications that you need to have a successful career in yachting. So if you're looking to take on this incredible adventure of sailing the seas, go and check out Maritime Professional Training in downtown Fort Lauderdale and get your STCW at your first opportunity. In fact, I would still be sailing if I didn't feel that I needed to pivot. And my career at sea opened my eyes to so many parts of the world that I've never seen, and I probably never would have seen if I hadn't taken an opportunity to work on a private yacht. I was very lucky to have had a contract on a private yacht that allowed me the time and the flexibility to go to medical school while taking short-term charters during the holidays. In fact, my boat stayed at the dock Monday through Friday, very close to where I was going to school and very close to where I was living. And it allowed me the flexibility to come in and do my work on the boat, and then go home and be home on the weekends, and also take out a full-time education. These types of contracts are very far and few between, but when you find them, you don't ever want to give them up. And I was fortunate enough to spend 3 years on one vessel before I had to leave so I could study for my board exams. But the excitement and the exquisite lifestyle of living and working on a private yacht introduced me to the idea of working on world-class cruise ships. And for a while, I thought that, man, I don't want to tell anybody that I'm working on a world-class cruise ship because they're probably going to think bad of me. We in the yachting industry think of world-class cruise ships as something that is just not as luxurious as being on a private yacht. But my career turned in a direction where I needed to see more people. I needed to see a volume of people. I needed to have a more of a captivating audience. And being in a privatized industry wasn't going to award me the financial benefit that I wanted, and it wasn't going to afford me the practice that I needed in order to have a thriving holistic practice. So I took a leap of faith and went with a company that placed me on some of the most beautiful world-class cruise ships. And I had a healthy 6-year career on these ships, traveling to places like the Alaska, to Mexico, to, the Caribbean. And I have yet to be on a vessel in the Med. However, I believe that that is still yet to come for me. But nonetheless, my career has given birth to so many wonderful opportunities. And if you are in a position to step away from where you are right now and to spend more than 2 to 5 years away from, all of the other land life activities and do something completely different, then being at sea is definitely the best type of career path to get on and to do, because you learn things like how to drive a tender, you learn how to surf, and you learn about sea life, and you take trips to some of the most exotic places, and you start to develop friendship, and you create stories that you can later reflect on in your older years and think that, wow, I lived a completely wonderful and fulfilled life. And I've seen so many parts of the world that if there was one thing in the world that I could do is to inspire people about how to live an amazing life, it's my life living on the high seas. My name is Dr. Antonika Chanel, and I'm a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. I've had the opportunity to travel all around the country and all over the world. My life thrives on travel, and now I get to share my life stories with people in Austin, online, and around the world, while at the same time creating luxury yacht charters in some of the most exotic locations. If you're interested in cruising on a luxury charter, whether it be in the Bahamas, whether it be in the Med, I suggest you check out the link in my bio and inquire about how to get on one of these vessels. I promise you, we will set you up with a vacation of a lifetime that you will never forget.